Sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Our respectful homage to our Venerable Pinwat Loku Swamin Wahanse, our teacher Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So today we have a beautiful teaching talk given by the Supreme Buddha. And I think you all know about the stories in the discourse today. And then maybe you have learned many things about this discourse before, I guess. This sutta, this discourse is available in Majjhima Nikaya, second part actually, Majjhima Nikaya. This book is translated into English from original Pali Canon by Venerable Bhikkhu Ñāṇamūli and Bhikkhu Bodhi. This is the wisdom publication book. And then we have this translation. This translation we have in our language as well, in Sinhala, from the original Pali Canon by our Pinwat Loku Swamin Wahanse. And then I used to talk about this discourse using the Sutta Central. If you go to the website suttacentral.com, suttacentral.com, this sutta is available in Majjhima Nikaya. Majjhima Nikaya. This sutta's name is Aṅgulimāla Sutta. You know, Aṅgulimāla Sutta. Aṅgulimāla Sutta. Translated by Venerable Bhikkhu Sujato. Bhikkhu Sujato. It's a simple and plain English you see on Sutta Central. I can share the link maybe later. Okay. Thank you, Arjun, for sharing the Sutta Central link. If you go to the Aṅgulimāla Sutta, we have two translations. I used the Bhikkhu Sujato's translation. So in the sutta, we have a very deep background story, very profound, very powerful background story about Aṅgulimāla. You know, our Supreme Buddha, the enlightened Buddha, has 9 qualities. The Buddha has 9 qualities. One of them is, Sattha Deva Manussanam Purisa Dhamma Sarathi. The Buddha is Purisa Dhamma Sarathi. Purisa Dhamma means taming the people and heavenly beings. Sarathi means the teacher. He is extraordinary in taming the people and heavenly beings as well. So the Buddha did not use any weapon. Buddha did not use anything to control people, but his compassion, sometimes his wisdom, sometimes his psychic potencies, sometimes the words he used, maybe the Dhamma he shared, is the way that he tamed people. It's not the taming like the normal people do. It's the noble way. It's the spiritual way. The Buddha gives the precious Dhamma to the people and to the heavenly beings to make their minds faithful and powerful and mindful to practice the Dhamma, to be free from the suffering. It's not something very simple. The Buddha is very, very special in this way. And then he gives this precious Dhamma. And absolutely, you have many, many stories heard about the Buddha's, the taming people. And then the best example, if we talk about ourselves, we were tamed. Okay, we were controlled by the words of the Supreme Buddha. If you think about your past, sometimes before listening to them, before before you did not have any idea about the teachings of the Supreme Buddha, we had a life. It's not like spiritual. If you think about a little bit about your past, okay, and we did whatever we like to do. We talked whatever we like to talk, right? And then we went wherever we like to go, right? In that way we had that lifestyle. We did not have the idea about precepts. We did not have any idea about good merits and bad merits, the wholesome activities and unwholesome deeds. We did not have any idea. And then we did not have any idea about this life, about this samsara. Samsara is the cycle of rebirth. We are born and then we die and we are reborn again. And then we did not have any idea about this. Even though we have listened, we have heard about this cycle of journey, cycle of rebirth, we did not have faith on that. We did not believe. Actually, we had that in our mind as stories, but the Buddha is not like that. His words, his dhamma was very powerful for us to have a spiritual life. Now you have a deep idea about the precepts. You have a deep respect about the words he spoke, and you have a deep uh, faith, deep uh, potential about yourself that you practice Dhamma. And then you believe in the rebirth, the reincarnation. You believe in the good merit. You believe in the good karma, good and bad merits. When we have good merits, you know that you will be happy in future. When we do something really good today, that will be the happiness in our future. And then in this life, maybe, in our next life, maybe. And then it will be very helpful for us to release from this suffering one day, or sooner or later. We do not know. But the good merit is the most powerful thing. Now we believe from the teachings of the Buddha. That's the way he tamed us. You understand? That's why the Buddha is called Sattha Deva Manusanam. So it's very clear. Buddha gave his teachings to us, and then it's very clear that we understand this is good and this is bad. This is good and this is bad. This is mm, wholesome and this is unwholesome. He clearly identified and he clearly introduced this is good and this is bad. If you do this, you will have good results for that. If you do this, you will have bad results for this. Very clearly, he pointed out, very clearly, he talked about these things. That's the most important thing. And then when you break precepts, maybe you need to do this and that. Then you break the precepts. Very clearly, he talked about these things. That's how he gave his Dhamma. It's not the mere words he spoke, the Buddha spoke to tame us. So the out of his great compassion, out of his great kindness, he spoke the truth. That's the key point. He spoke the truth of our life. He spoke the noble truth. He gave that noble truth to understand, to follow, and to be free from suffering. And then he used many ways to tame people. And then Aṅgulimāla. Aṅgulimāla was tamed by the psychic potencies and kindness of our Supreme Buddha. Supreme Buddha was very kind and wise and powerful to tame a bandit like Aṅgulimāla. If you know about Aṅgulimāla, Anguli, Anguli in Pali is for in my language, in Sinhala, we say Angili. Angili, which is fingers. Anguli is the finger. Aṅgulimāla. Mala, maybe you know about this word. Mala is the necklace. Aṅgulimāla is the necklace of fingers. That was his name. He was called Aṅgulimāla, the necklace of fingers. It's not scary. The story is not that scary, but don't worry about that, okay? So he used to have that necklace around his neck with the fingers of the people he killed, maybe. That was not something good. He had a very terrible life. He has he had a very cool life, but you know that his good merit from his past, his good karma that he has collected in the past was very powerful, and then the Buddha could tame him because of that. Buddha went there and Buddha did that for the benefit of it. So even though the person who has done something very, very terrible, who had done something very cool, was fortunate to understand Dhamma. So even though a person who has killed many, many people, that bad merit was not so powerful than the good merit he collected, than the power of the Supreme Buddha. And then he was fortunate to overcome all the bad merits that he has collected, maybe to suffer in hell. He overcame, and then he was fortunate to be free from all that bad merit and to be free from all the sufferings in the samsara completely because of the wisdom of our Supreme Buddha. That's why I selected this sutta. That's why I have this idea to share this beautiful sutta with you. Sometimes we have some, what is it called? Maybe regrets, maybe some worries from the past. Oh, I have done something, this, and that. Okay. So I will have to suffer for my bad actions that I have done before. Maybe sometimes we have kind of worries in our minds. We have some regrets, or I have spoken such a way, and then that was something painful to those people. So sometimes we might have something like that in our hearts that really bothers us. But it's not just the way that we want to think. It's not the way that we want to practice Dhamma. It's not the way. Regret is not, regret is a bad, unwholesome quality. It's not wholesome. And then just we want to let that go. And then just we want to take the Dhamma and then practice for the happiness. And that's just the way we just find our happiness, our own happiness, this life and next, and to release from suffering. And then regret or worry is not the way we should find our happiness. This is the best example. That's why I selected this sutta for you today to talk about. And then we do not have the background story in the sutta, and it's in the legends, maybe in commentaries. Aṅgulimāla was a very, very faithful child in a very long time, once upon a time, in the time of the Buddha called Padumuttara or uh, Piyumathura, Padumuttara Supreme Buddha. It's about 100,000 kalpas ago. Kappa is the eon. Eon has an uncountable number of years. And then 100,000 eons ago, this child was born during the time of Padumuttara Supreme Buddha in a very noble family. And then he happened to listen to the Dharma, or the teachings of the Padumuttara Supreme Buddha, the same Dharma. And then he was very faithful. He collected lots of good memories. He developed his mindfulness. He did many, many wholesome activities, and he was very, very fortunate and powerful. And with that powerful good merit, he was born in a heavenly world after that life. He stayed there for a long period of time, enjoying the heavenly happiness and practicing Dhamma maybe. But unfortunately, sometimes he came to this human world. Sometimes life was not good. Sometimes he was born in a bad world also. Sometimes this is the nature of samsara. Sometimes he becomes a demon, huh? Maybe a devil. Sometimes he becomes a human. Sometimes he becomes, excuse me, sometimes he becomes a heavenly being. That's just the way that we go on this journey of samsara. It's not all about him. It's all about our lives. We also have experienced uncountable number of times in the heavenly worlds, in the samsara. If you believe it, hmm? This is how we learn our teachings of the Supreme Buddha from the Supreme Buddha. So we have experienced the the heavenly pleasures, uncountable numbers. We have been born as Brahmins before. That's just the samsara. And we have been born in the same world, in the human world like this. We had been very rich people in king's families, maybe in noble families, maybe in very, very poor families, maybe in many, many ways we have been born in this world. Okay, we enjoyed many many things, we experienced many many things in the human world, we have died uncountable number of times. That's just the way, or the nature of this samsara. And then not only that, we have been born in the animal world in all the ways, maybe as cows, as dogs, as rabbits, as fish, birds, many, many animals. We have experienced thousands of times, millions of times, trillions of millions of trillions of uncountable number of times we have experienced that. We have been born as ghosts. We have been born as demons. We have been born as hell beings. Okay, eons and eons and eons we have suffered, but we do not remember. We do not remember. Maybe sometimes we have met the Supreme Buddhas in the past. We do not remember. But only thing happened. Only one thing happened. Only one thing actually did not happen in our life. That was we did not understand the normal Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha. We did not be free from, we did not, how do I say, we were not free from suffering in the samsara. That's why we already have this journey of samsara, this journey of cycle of birth and rebirth. Okay, so this is not only to Aṅgulimāla. This is not only to anyone else. This is very common. Aṅgulimāla is not the only person who who led us as a serial killer. We also have done that. That's just this nature of samsara. We also have killed thousands of people in our past, and we have suffered for that badness. Okay, in hell maybe. We have done many, many good deeds and we have experienced heavenly happiness for that too. That's how we want to have this Dhamma in our hands. That's why the Buddha is here to teach us the noble path to follow, to be free from the suffering completely. That's why he was very compassionate to everybody. Out of his compassion, he was born, he appeared in this world and preached his noble Dhamma to practice today, today, right now, at the right moment. Okay, and then when we do this, we will we will keep our first step to follow the noble path for the freedom of suffering, freedom from all sufferings in the samsara. That's the purpose of the Supreme Buddha, to come to this world. That the Buddha's purpose is not something simple. The Buddha's purpose is give the permanent happiness to our lives. So the Padumuttara Supreme Buddha preached his Dhamma to this noble person, and he practiced Dhamma, and he was born in the heavenly world. And then after a long period of time, maybe 100,000 kalpas, 100,000 couples or 100,000 years. He had this journey and was born in in India when the Supreme Buddha appeared in this world. Our Supreme Buddha, the Gautama Supreme Buddha. And then his father was uh, Bhagava, and he was the how do I say that? He was the chief counselor, the chief. Oh, maybe I can say that word. He was the chief counselor of the king, uh, King Pasenadi of Kosala. Kosala is the kingdom. Pasenadi is his name. Pasenadi of Kosala. And then he was the chief counselor. And his mother was Mantani, Brahmini, Mantani. Her name was Mantani. And then when that boy was born, when that boy was born, something extremely happened in the house. And then on the day he was born, there was a huge storm in the sky and had a heavy rainfall. And then it was lightning. It was thundering, and then thunder lightning, and very terrible things happened during the night when he was born. And of course, in the king's palace also, there's something really happened, which was the king was sleeping in his room. The Pasenadi of Kosala was sleeping in his comfortable the chamber in the king's palace. And all of a sudden he saw that his swood, the royal swood, was uh, uh, bright and brilliant and shiny with a sound. And then king was scared. He was frightened to see this, and he wondered what was happening. What is something very strange? And all of the weapons, all of the swords, all of the knives, all of the weapons the king used to fight and go for the battles. And then he had that this store, and all the weapons were started shining bright and brilliant, and then giving sounds like that. And then that was something very terrible, very frightening, very scary. And then all the weapons in the kingdom had the same experience, and the people were scared. And then in the morning, he called Bhagava. Bhagava is the father of that boy, the Aṅgulimāla. So, and then uh, he was the council, and the king questioned what was going on here. It was something very serious happened last time. Last night? Do you know the reason for this? And then Bhagava said, this is something very special, Your Majesty. Huh? In my family, to my wife, she had a baby boy. And because of the power of that baby boy, your royal sword became like that. And all the swords and all the weapons in your kingdom became like that because of the power of that baby. And then the king question, uh, so he might be a terrible person in the future. And then Bhagava the counselor said, yes, Your Majesty, he will be a bandit in the future. He will be a terrible bandit to kill thousands of people. He will be a very cruel person in the future. And then the king was very frightened about that. And then Bhagava said, if you need your majesty, if you need your majesty, I can destroy this boy. And you don't want to worry about it. I can do that. We can destroy it. We can kill this boy. We do not want to have this baby. If this is a threaten, if this was a threat for the people to the country, I do not want to have this baby. And then the king said, I am a good disciple of the Supreme Buddha. During the time of the Buddha, hmm, I am a good disciple. I went for refuge to the Tibetan and I followed the precepts. So as a noble person, I cannot give permission to kill anyone else. So the king was very virtuous, right? And very kind. And then give everything to the baby. Give everything, give every comfort to the baby to grow up, and we will take care of this baby. The king said. And then Bhargava went home, and then he was thinking that my baby did not do any harm to people, even though the weapons were bright and brilliant last night. It was not it was not any harm to anyone else. It did not make any harm to anyone else because of this baby is innocent. And then Bhargava, his father, gave the name to the baby as innocence in my language or in Pali. Ahinsaka. Ahinsaka means innocence. Oh, my baby is innocent. My boy is innocent. That's why I call him innocence. Ahinsaka. So see, so his name was not Aṅgulimāla for the first time. It was later on. And for the first time he was called Ahinsaka or innocent. He grew up as a very innocent boy, very obedient person, very smart boy, and he was very clever, very talented, very um, skillful actually. And then he was very meritorious. He followed the Dharma and he understood. And then his mother and his father wanted him to study in the uh, in the uh, in the school called uh, Taxila. Taxila is today it's situated close to maybe Pakistan or maybe in the ancient in India. In ancient India, it was uh, in Indian map, but today it's in Pakistan. So he went to Taxila, the school, to study, and he became the smartest students in the school. He was the cleverest boy. He was the most talented the the students in the school, and everyone loved her, the teachers and the other people. And then because everybody started loving him, everybody started taking care of this smart boy in the school. He had a good reputation everywhere. And then a group of children in the same school, a group of boys were jealous, were jealous about this boy because he was the smartest boy. Everyone loves him. And then they had a plan to do something bad to this boy. And then he had that plan to go to the teacher, the principal, and to speak about something very false, something is backbiting. Okay, if they went to the teacher, the principal, and said really something really bad. They said, "Sir, the Ahinsaka has a bad relationship with your wife." So now he's a young boy, and then they said that he had a bad relationship with your wife, and then the principal knew about this boy very well, and he said, "I do not believe that. He is the smartest boy. I know that he never do anything wrong. He is very virtuous, mindful, and innocent, and very wise, and he does not do anything. I clearly know about him. He did not take that word into his mind." And then the group of boys went back, and they had a plan to send a different group of children to the teacher to say the same thing. And then that group of children also went to the teacher after maybe a few days, and they said the same thing. Huh? Sir, Ahinsaka had a very bad relationship with your wife, with your wife. And then for the second time, when the principal listened to this bad news, huh, he started thinking about this a little bit more. Maybe The first group of children also said the same thing. Now now these children also say the same thing. Is there something that I do not know about this? He was thinking. So it was something a little bit powerful in his mind, little bit maybe bothering and worried. And then, but anyways, he sent the group of children back. They kept them away. And then in a few days, maybe, the third group of children went to the principal and said the same thing. Sir, Ahimsaka has a bad relationship with your wife. And then for the third time, the teacher was very shocked about this. There must be something behind the words of these children. There's something bad. So if it is true, I will not give any excuse to this boy, Ahimsaka. I will not excuse this man. So I will destroy this man. That was the plan of the boys in the school. See, when someone meets a bad people, when someone meets bad people, their future will be bad. When we have bad people around us, sometimes it's very terrible and very unfortunate in our lives too. When we have good people, even though we are good, we might have uh, some threats, some maybe some challenges, some something very uh, unfortunate in our lives as well, mm, as Ahimsaka experienced. And then the, that was the final day of their school, maybe the graduation. And then with that graduation, the Ahimsaka went to the principal and bowed down and worshipped the feet of the principal and said, Sir, you did many things to me, and you taught me my life. You taught me everything you know. And then I pay my homage to you. And then I ask you permission to go home now. And then principal says, No, no, no. It's just not the way that you leave me. You should give me my charges. You should pay me in a way that I need you to do. Then Ahimsaka says, Teacher, I respect you from the bottom of my heart. Maybe in a way that I can do that, I respect you. I can do whatever you ask me to do. See, this boy is so smart and he had a deep respect towards his teacher. That was the respect for the teacher. That was so powerful, and he can do whatever he can do for that respect to fulfill the idea about the teacher. It was very powerful, but the teacher was not a noble person in this way. And then the teacher said, I need you to kill 1,000 people. That was how you pay my charges. So the plan the plan in the mind of the teacher was, so when he kills someone else, the catch, king can catch him and the king kills him. That was the story. So the principal wanted him to destroy. Excuse me. The principal wanted him to be destroyed. Okay, and then if he kills someone else, that was the end of his life as well, because the king can catch him and king can kill him. The story is over. His plan is fulfilled then. But anyways, this Ahimsaka was very powerful. He took the responsibility. He taking the what is it called, the terrible um, uh, the challenge in his hand. Taking his sword, he went to the forest called Jalini. You remember that word, Jalini, forest called Jalini. And then, being in this Jalini forest, he killed someone else. And then, uh, he, to count the number of people he killed, he just needs something as a sign. So he collected the finger, maybe the thumb, maybe the right thumb of the person. He takes, and then he keeps in a place in the Jalini forest, maybe in a cave, maybe in a hollow of a tree, maybe wherever he liked. He hid the finger, and then he killed hundreds of people, and he collects the fingers, and then he hides them in a place. But unfortunately, some animals ate all the fingers. Sometimes the fingers were rotten. They started to rot. Okay, and then the fingers are destroyed. So he was unable to count the number of people he had killed to fulfill the teacher's the idea. And then eventually he got this idea. So if I take a string, maybe a rope or something, if I how do I say that, if I collect that in a string as a necklace, then I can count the number of fingers, I can count the number of people I killed, and then I can fulfill the idea. 1,000 is a big number. And then he he made that necklace of fingers, and used to wear that around his neck. That's why he was called Aṅgulimāla. That's why the people started calling Aṅgulimāla. This is the background story of this story. Now we can go to the Sutta to talk about many things about Aṅgulimāla, and then how the Buddha tamed him. If I can share my screen, and then maybe you also um, can go to the website. Gives me for a while. Can you see my screen, everybody? Arjuna?
Yes,
Leela?
Bhante. Yes, sir.
Okay. This is from the Sutta Center. Is this the same link, Arjuna, you shared?
My son.
Okay, thank you. Many minutes. So, with Aṅgulimāla. So, we will read the Sutta, and we will make our minds faithful towards the Supreme Buddha. And then with Aṅgulimāla. This is from Bhikkhu Sujato Bhante's translation from Sutta Center. Middle length discourses 84 with Aṅgulimāla. So I have heard at one time the Buddha was staying near Savatthi Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery. It was the monastery the Buddha lived. And then maybe it would be very nice if you read the first part of the sutta from here to here. If someone is happy to read, maybe I will be very happy about that too. Senile. Yes, Senile. Yes, you can read it.
Okay, Bante.
Yes, please.
Now at that time, in the realm of King Pasandi of Kosala, there was a bandit named Aṅgulimāla. He was violent, bloody-handed, a hardened killer, merciless to living beings. He laid waste to villages, towns, and countries. He was constantly murdering people, and he wore their fingers as a necklace.
Oh, very good. Very good. Your Pasenadi of Kosala is the name of the king. And then you might understand. And then the next part. Then the Buddha will be given to Subodha.
Then the Buddha rode up in the morning and taking his bowl and robe, entered Savatthi for alms. Then after the meal, on his return for alms round, he set his lodgings in order, and taking his bowl and robe, he walked down the road that led to Aṅgulimāla.
Very good. So you know that Aṅgulimāla was living in the forest called Jalini now. Now his idea was fulfilled, which means he had 999 fingers collected, but he killed more than that. And he collected 999 fingers. He needed one to fulfill the idea of the teacher. And he was wandering to kill someone else. He was going here and there to catch someone else to kill, to take the finger to fulfill the 1,000. And then during that time, meanwhile, all the people in the city of the kingdom were very frightened about this bandit, were very scared about this man. They stopped going to the forest. They stopped going to the forest to collect firewood, to find medicine, to find water or something. They did not go because of they scared. They were very scared of this man. And then even the thousands of people gathering around the kingdom in the king's yard, they started shouting to the king, crying to the king and said, your Majesty, you have a very terrible bandit in your kingdom, killing thousands of people. Please catch him and destroy him. We are afraid, we are very frightened. That's not good, that's not peaceful. He killed our parents, he killed our families, he killed our relatives, our children, our friends, and everybody. And please catch him. They started shouting to the king, and king also did not have any plan. And then, meanwhile, the Aṅgulimāla, the Ahinsaka's mother and father were worried about this child very much. He knew that, that could be our child, that could be my child, killing thousands of people being in the forest. That was the sign we experienced on the day he was born. They were talking. Now, the king also had a plan to catch him. So he gathered, King Pasenadi, of course, he gathered five, if my memory is right, if I am not mistaken, 500 tusker elephants, 500 horses, 500 other vehicles, and then thousands of army people. And then he gathered and he collected, and he was going to catch this bandit in the forest called Jalini. And on the way to catch of this the king to the Jalini forest to catch this bandit, the king was thinking that if this is a good idea, I will go to the forest and catch this bandit and kill for the benefit of multitude in my kingdom. And if this idea is not bad, if this idea is not good, maybe the Buddha will say something for me, and it will be very good if I go to the Supreme Buddha and let him know about my journey. He was planning. Anyways, so so the Angulimala's mother and father heard about this army, heard about the plan of the king, and she was really worried about his child. And she said that I will go to the forest. I will stop my son. It's my son. I fed my son from my breast, from the breast milk I had in my body. I fed that. My boy is extremely innocent, and he is not the serial killer. I will save him. He is my son. I will save him. That was the the compassion, the affectionate love of a mother she had, and she was running to the Jalini forest to stop this man, to stop her son. And then on the same day, Buddha was staying in the monastery meditating. Every morning the Buddha had uh, the meditation with the great compassion. He looks around the world if see to see if there is someone else that needs the help of the Supreme Buddha. That someone is capable to have the compassion of the Supreme Buddha to understand. On the day of that, the army is ready to go, and then the mother is in the forest. Buddha was seeing this man, Ahinsaka, in the forest. And then he had killed thousands of people. And then he needs one finger, one person to kill. And then his mother is coming to the forest. Now the man is ready to kill whoever comes to the forest to kill with his sword. If he kills his mother, his own mother, he will definitely be born in the hell and will suffer eons and eons. And then it will not be very good. If I go there, maybe I can stop this man. And then, not maybe, definitely I can stop this man. And then he will stop killing his mother and he will be free from all the suffering if he understands the good Dhamma. And that's how the Buddha was planning. And then that Aṅgulimāla is ready to kill his own mother. And then before that, Buddha was journeying to the Javanese forest. And then this is, so when the Buddha was going to the forest, Buddha was going to the forest to stop Aṅgulimāla. And then maybe we will read this part by, okay, Hiro. Do you see the arrow?
My Swami answered. The cowherds, sheepherds, farmers, and travelers saw him on the road and said to him, "Don't take this road, ascetic. On this road there is a bandit named Aṅgulimāla. He is violent, bloody-handed, and a hardened killer, merciless to living beings. He has laid waste to villages, towns, and countries. He is constantly murdering people, and he wears their fingers as a necklace. People travel along this road only after banding closely together, a group of 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50. Still they meet their end by Aṅgulimāla's hand. But when they say this, the Buddha went on in silence. For a sec.
Okay, bumping. So the people wanted to stop the Buddha to go to the forest because the bandits was very terrible. They were scared. The Buddha did not listen to them. And then the next part is for Subodha. If you have
Yeah. In my silence, for a second time and a third time, they urged the Buddha to turn back. But when they said this, the Buddha went on in silence. The bandit Aṅgulimāla saw the Buddha coming off in the distance and thought, "It's incredible, it's amazing. People travel on this road only after banding closely together in groups of 10, 20, 30, 40, or 50. Still they meet their end by my hand. But still this ascetic comes along alone and unaccompanied, like he had beaten me already. Why don't I take his life?"
Thank you. Many merits. So you know that the apparently Aṅgulimāla had the power of 7 elephants. for the good merit he has collected in the past. He was very powerful, like 7 elephants. He had this power, right? This is so powerful. So he killed everybody. He killed everyone who came to the forest. But this time, it's something amazing happening. And then the next part is for Paboda from Winnipeg, I think, if she is comfortable.
Hey, my
Hmm.
son. Then Aṅgulimāla donned his sword and shield, fastened his bows and arrows. He followed behind the Buddha. But the Buddha used his psychic powers to will that Aṅgulimāla could not catch up with him, no matter how hard he tried, even though the Buddha kept walking at a normal speed.
Okay, there is many merits, Paboda. So Buddha was walking normally, is a normal steps, normal speed, but it was a psychic potency that the Aṅgulimāla cannot reach him. He was, if you remember that when we chant the Jayamangala Gata, so Ukkitta Kaggamati Hatta Sudarunantang Davaggi Chakkamasaniva Sudarun. Ukkitta Kaggamasaniva Sudarunantang Davaggi Chakkamasaniva. So he followed 3 yojanas, so about 30 kilometers behind the Supreme Buddha to catch him, but he was unable to do that. He failed because of the psychic potency. And then Aṅgulimāla thought this chance is for Linda.
Is that me, Bante?
Mm.
Then Aṅgulimāla thought, it's incredible, it's amazing. Previously, even when I've chased a speeding elephant, horse, chariot, or deer, I've always caught up with them. But I can't catch up with this ascetic no matter how hard I try, even though he's walking at a normal speed.
Oh, he was very curious about it. Why? Why I cannot catch this ascetic? And then this chance is for these two boys, Dimal and Nitil. Yeah.
Hey, my son answered.
Mm.
He stood still and said, "Stop, stop, ascetic. I've stopped Aṅgulimāla. Now you stop." Then Aṅgulimāla thought, "These Sakyan ascetics speak the truth." Yet while walking, the ascetic Gautama says, "I've stopped Aṅgulimāla. Now you stop. Why don't I ask him about this?"
Okay, so the Aṅgulimāla shouted, "Stop, ascetic, stop." And then the Buddha says, "What? I have stopped. You should stop." And then he was wondering, he was thinking, the ascetics never lie. What is going on in here? And then this is how the Buddha answered. And then the first gatha is for again Arjuna. Then he addressed the Buddha in verse.
While walking ascetic, you say I've stopped, and I have stopped, but you tell me I've not. I'm asking you this, ascetic. How is it you've stopped and I have not?
So he was very wise. He was very, very intelligent to question like this. And then the answer of the Supreme Buddha is for let me see if someone is there. Anyone else? Raymond?
Yes, Bhante. Aṅgulimāla, I have forever stopped. I've laid aside violence towards all creatures, but you can't stop yourself from harming living creatures. That's why I've stopped, but you have not.
Thank you. That was the answer of the Supreme. I have stopped what? To killing living beings, but you have not. You have not stopped killing living beings. That's how he the Buddha stopped his, he said, okay, and then this chance is for a next one in Asia.
Oh, at long last, a hermit, a great sage who I honor, has entered this great forest. Now that I have heard your words of Dhamma, I shall live without evil.
Thank you. You're really good, right? So when he heard the first word of the Supreme Buddha, he was tamed, and then he wanted to follow this Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha. And then the next part is for Dinodahan.
Famous answer. With these words, the bandit hurled his sword and weapons down a cliff into a chasm. He venerated the Holy One's feet and asked him for the going forth right way.
Many merits. So it's beautiful, huh? He venerated the Holy One's feet. He took that garland off, and then he venerated the holy feet of Supreme Buddha. That's beautiful. And then, if someone is okay to read, okay, we'll see. Unfortunately, I have no one else.
Someone wants it. Could I read it?
Let me see if someone here that did not read before. Okay, someone else, please.
Someone wants it. Could I read it?
Okay. Maybe Janet. Janet? You ready?
Yeah, Bhante.
Okay.
The last one. Then the Buddha, the compassionate great hermit, the teacher of the world with his God, said to him, "Come, monk." And with that, he became a monk.
Thank you. So, it was a psychic potency just only for the Supreme Buddha. And when he says, when the Buddha sees that the person is capable to become monk, and it was a psychic potency, he gave his ordination to the people. That has good merit. So Buddha says that, come dear monk, the Dhamma is clearly explored to you to practice to be free from suffering. And then the person becomes a monk. He appears as a monk, and his head is shaven, and then he had the robe and the begging bowl in his hand. He comes towards the Supreme Buddha as a monk. It's a psychic potency. Even though the person is wearing different clothes and he has hairs in his hand and beard and everything was changed. Everything becomes changed, and he becomes a monk. This is only from the Supreme Buddha. This is called Ehi Bhikkhu Pavidda. Come dear monk. And then he becomes a monk. And then it happened to the Supreme Buddha, the Aṅgulimāla as well, when he became a monk, and as well the higher ordination was on the same time. In the same time, he became a monk, and the higher ordination was also at the same time happened. And then if we go furthermore, maybe for the next part is for Isuru. I didn't hear your voice for a long time.
Oh, sorry, Bhante. Then the Buddha set out for Savatthi with the Venerable Aṅgulimāla as second monk. Traveling stage by stage, he arrived at Savatthi, where he stayed in Jeta's Grove, Anathapindika's monastery.
Okay. So now, now Venerable Aṅgulimāla, with the Supreme Buddha. They went to the monastery and living in there. Now the king is ready to go to the forest. Okay. Now king is coming to the Supreme Buddha to know if the idea is good or bad. And then this part is for me. No, not me. How are these two? Okay. Bana Toronto. If you're happy, please. Now at that time.
Namo Buddhaya Bante.
Namo Buddha.
Okay. Now at that time, a crowd had gathered by the gate of King Pasenadi's royal compound, making a dreadful record. In your realm, your majesty, there is a bandit named Aṅgulimāla. He is violent, bloody-handed, a heartless killer, merciless to living beings. He has laid waste to villages, towns, and countries. He is constantly murdering people, and he wears their fingers as a necklace. Your Majesty must put a stop to him. Then King Pasenadi drove out from Savatthi in the middle of the day with around 500 horses, heading for the monastery. He went by carriage as far as the terrains allowed, then descended and approached the Buddha on foot. He bowed and sat down to one side. The Buddha said to him, "What is it, great king? Is King Senia Bimbisara of Magadha angry with you, or the Lithavis of Vesali, or some other opposing ruler?" "No, sir. In my realm, there is a bandit named Aṅgulimāla. He is violent, bloody-handed, a heart killer, merciless to living being. I shall put a stop to him." But great king.
Many merits for the beautiful reading. Okay. Now he shared the stories. Okay. And then the Buddha's answer is for Anjali. But great king, suppose.
No, yes, Bante.
No.
But great king, suppose you were to see that Aṅgulimāla had shaved off his hair and beard, dressed in ochre robes, and gone forth from the lay life to homelessness, and that he was refraining from killing living creatures, stealing and lying, that he was eating in one part of the day and was celibate, ethical, and of good character. What would you do to him?
Thank you. So then Aṅgulimāla is a venerable monk now. But the Pasenadi of course does not know about that. And the Buddha says that if he is a monk, what would you say? What would you do to him? Are you still ready to kill him? The next part is for if Sarani is ready. Maybe someone else then.
I was first on, so I can read the.
Yes. Is that Minupa?
Him as answer.
Yes.
I would bow to him, rise in his presence, or offer him a seat. I'd invite him to accept robes, alms food, lodgings, and medicines, and supplies for the sick, and I'd organize his lawful guarding and protection. But, sir, how could such an immoral, evil man ever have such virtue and restraint?
Thank you. Beautiful reading. So, see the noble king. Noble king is the good person, the disciple of the Supreme. If he is a monk, no matter if he's a serial killer before, I will bow down to him and I will give whatever he needs. And then, but how could it happen? And then next part is for Arjuna. Did you read?
Yes, Nancy. I don't mind reading it.
That's okay. Yeah, you can read the next part too.
I would bow to him, rise in his presence, or offer him a seat. I'd invite him to accept robes, alms food, lodgings, and medicines, and supplies for the sick, and I'd organize his lawful guarding and protection. But, sir, how could such an immoral, evil man ever have such virtue and restraint?
A little bit more.
Now at that time, Venerable Aṅgulimāla was sitting not far from the Buddha. Then the Buddha pointed with his right arm and said to the king, Great king, this is Aṅgulimāla.
Many merits. And then the Aṅgulimāla is sitting here with the point at him. And then
Swami Vansa, can I read?
Sure.
Then the king became frightened, scared, his hair standing on end. Knowing this, the Buddha said to him, Do not fear, great king. You have nothing to fear from him. Then the king's fear died down.
A little bit more.
Then the king went over to Aṅgulimāla and said, Sir, is the Venerable really Aṅgulimāla?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Then the king went to Aṅgulimāla, frightened, scared, and he went and he questions. Yes, great king. Aṅgulimāla, Venerable Aṅgulimāla Bhante says, yes, great king. And then if we go ahead, anyone else who did not read before has the chance, if you're comfortable.
Science, may I read?
Yes.
What clans were your father and mother from? My father was a Gugga, and my mother was a Matani. Matani. May the Venerable Gugga Matani Putta be happy. I'll make sure that you're provided with robes, alms food, lodgings, and medicines, and supplies for the sick. But at the time, Venerable Aṅgulimāla lived in the wilderness, ate only alms food, and owned just 3 robes. So he said to the king, Enough, great king, my robes are complete. Then the king went back to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and said to him, It's incredible, sir. It's amazing how the Buddha tames those who are wild, pacifies those who are violent, and extinguishes those who are unextinguished. For I was not able to tame him with the rod and the sword, but the Buddha tamed him without rod or sword. Well now, sir, I must go. I have many duties and much to do.
Many merits for the beautiful reading. So the king of Pasenadi Kosala has a deep respect towards the Supreme Buddha. That's how he expressed his gratitude, maybe the respect to the Buddha. I want you to keep this part in your mind. So it's incredible. So it's amazing how the Buddha tames these who are wild, pacifies those who are violent, and extinguishes those who are extinguished. For I was not able to tame him with the rod or the sword, but the Buddha tamed him without rod or sword. Well, now, sir, I must go. So the Buddha did not use any weapon, anything, but the wisdom and compassion, and then his power of psychic potencies. So that's how our the enlightened teacher gave his kindness to the world, and then we were also very lucky to go for refuge to the Supreme Buddha in a very respectful manner. And then Ashani is here. Ashani is for the next part. You did not read?
I just read Science.
Oh, you read that. Okay.
I can read again, Science.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy.
Okay. Please, great king, go at your convenience. Then King Pasenadi got up from his seat, bowed, and respectfully circled the Buddha, keeping him on his right before leaving.
Okay. Yeah. And the next part is for someone else who did not read before. Okay, maybe two people are here. One of them.
Swami Mansa, can I read?
Uh-huh.
Then Venerable Aṅgulimāla robed up in the morning, and taking his bowl and robe, entered Savatthi for alms. Then as he was wandering indiscriminately for alms food, he saw a woman undergoing a painful obstructed labor. Seeing this, it occurred to him, "Oh, being suffers such filth. Oh, being suffers such filth."
Okay, so maybe you know this story. One day he went to the village for alms food. He saw a painful woman, suffering in labor pain to give birth to a child. He was in a terrible suffering, and then he was worried about that. Okay, and this is how we chant the Aṅgulimāla Paritta. When you chant Aṅgulimāla Paritta every morning, maybe you know the meaning. Huh? So Parittang yang banantasa nisinnatthana dovana. So that's how he made his Satyakriya. The what is it called in English for Satyakriya? If you know the word. Anyone else? So
It's exclamation of the truth, Bhakti.
Pardon me again?
I think it's the exclamation of truth.
Exclamation of truth. Oh, very good. It's a nice word. Exclamation of truth. Truth means like, because of the truth he followed, may this happen. Because of the truth, I believe, may this happen. That's how what we can do, right? So when we believe in something, maybe when we believe in the qualities of Supreme Buddha, I believe the Buddha is enlightened. By the power of this truth, may this happen. And this is how the Satyakriya is done, exclamation of the truth. So this is how the Venerable Aṅgulimāla Bhante made his exclamation of truth. Okay. Okay. And then he went to the Supreme Buddha and said said about the story of this painful woman. Be very simple and comfortable and take the chance.
Good. So, you want to read? No, he's not coaching.
Yes. Yes.
Bhante, it's Barry. I will read.
Okay, sure.
Then, after wandering for alms in Savatthi, after the meal, on his return from alms round, he went to the Buddha, bowed, sat down to one side, and told him what had happened. The Buddha said to him, "Well then, Aṅgulimāla, go to that woman and say this. Ever since I was born, sister, I don't recall having intentionally taken the life of a living creature. By this truth, may both you and your baby be safe." "But sir, wouldn't that be telling a deliberate lie? For I have intentionally killed many living creatures." "In that case, Aṅgulimāla, go to that woman and say this. Ever since I was born in the noble birth, sister, I don't recall having intentionally taken the life of a living creature. By this truth, may both you and your baby be safe."
Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful reading. It's very wonderful. So see this, the Buddha says something very, very powerful, very, very new to us maybe. And he says, Buddha says to Aṅgulimāla, Venerable Aṅgulimāla, "Aṅgulimāla, go to that woman and say that, made your Satyakriya like this. I have not killed anyone else. By this truth, may you be well and happy, in such a way." And then Venerable Aṅgulimāla Bhante was curious about this utterance. How can I say, Bhante, in a way like that? I have killed thousands of people with these hands. These hands were bloody and it's not purified in the past. So how can I say something like that? It's a deliberate lie. Intentionally, I cannot lie. And then the Buddha said, no, Aṅgulimāla. This is not the way that you should think about yourself. This is just not the way the person who thinks, who went for refuge to the Supreme Buddha. This is just the way that you should think about. I have not killed any living creatures after I came to the dispensation of the Supreme Buddha. Since ever I have gone for refuge to the Supreme Buddha, I did not kill any living creatures. I did not do any harm to any living creatures. This is just the way you just want to think about yourself, and you should go to that woman and made your Satyakriya. See, this is maybe the most powerful way of thinking about ourselves as well, right? As since ever that we have come to the dispensation, since ever that we have gone for refuge to the triple gem, since ever that we have taken the precept, abstaining from killing, abstaining from stealing, abstaining from sexual misconduct, lying, and taking drugs and alcohol. I am virtuous. You are virtuous. Since ever you observe the precepts, from that moment you are virtuous. From that moment you're wholesome, and you collect good merit. It's not about your past. It's not about the things that you have done before. You do not want to worry about your past. Say that you did not kill anyone after becoming a monk, and do you satyakriya before that woman. See that the Buddha's compassion, Buddha's way of sharing his teaching is amazing. His compassion and his loving and his wisdom is not something simple. It's very, very special. And then Aṅgulimāla was very happy to take this advice from the Supreme Buddha, and he goes to the woman. And then from this point, yes, sir. Anyone else who did not read, maybe?
But they can I read?
Sure.
Thank you. Yes, sir, replied Aṅgulimāla. He went to that woman and said, ever since I was born in the noble birth, sister, I don't recall having intentionally taken the life of a living creature. By this truth, may both you and your baby be safe. Then that woman was safe, and so was her baby. Then Aṅgulimāla, living up.
Okay, fine. So thank you for the beautiful reading, and I rejoice in the good night. So ever since I was born in the noble birth, sister, I don't recall having intentionally taken the life of a living creature. By this truth, may both you and your baby be safe. That's how he said. And then that woman was safe, and so was her baby. They both were safe. And then the people were amazed by this. And then Aṅgulimāla was very famous among the people. And then the compassion. Okay, so we chant Aṅgulimāla Sutta. We chant Aṅgulimāla Sutta for the protection of our life. By the power of Aṅgulimāla Bhante, he was a very powerful person. Aṅgulimāla Bhante had a very powerful mind. See, even though he had done serious things in his past, he was able to tame his mind with the help of the Supreme Buddha. So sometimes when we have something done before, with something a little bad maybe, So we worried a lot today. We do not let that go, and we still we wonder about that, and we worried a lot about that. It's not the practice of Dhamma. So just letting go of that bad memories, and then starting living a virtuous life is just the way. We just need to have our find our happiness here and hereafter. And then we chant this Paritang Yang Banantas, the Aṅgulimāla Paritta, for the protection of our life. And then from the protection of any unevil things, maybe the unhuman, non-human spirits or something, we chant this Paritta for the protection. And it's very powerful. By the power of Aṅgulimāla Bhante, by the power of his Satyakriya, may we be happy, may we be safe. May we be free from any dangers or any evil things. Okay, and then we say that. So the in the commentaries or in the legends, we see many stories about Aṅgulimāla Bhante, and the people who were killed in the forest, thousands of people by Aṅgulimāla, were born as sometimes demons because of the cruel feelings, because of the evil feelings they had at the moment of when they died. They were born in the demons family, and they followed Aṅgulimāla Bhante, even though he is a venerable Bhante. That non-spirits came behind him apparently, and then because of the kindness, because of the compassion, because of the loving kindness of Aṅgulimāla Bhante, everybody became tamed. And they were also fortunate to be free from those bad words and became humans, and then they understood Dhamma of the Supreme Buddha. And that's how the Aṅgulimāla Bhante's kindness and compassion and metta he practiced for benefit of the world. And then in my country, in Sri Lanka, we have a beautiful stupa. Stupa is the pagoda, the monument created enshrining 1,000 pieces of the holy relics of Aṅgulimāla Bhante, the bone relics of 1,000 pieces of 1,000 relics of Aṅgulimāla Bhante enshrined in the Dagapa, in the stupa, and then in the square area of the stupa, in the top part of the stupa, we have 8 sacred relics of the Supreme Buddha enshrined, holy relics, and very powerful and spiritual place. If you visit my country, Sri Lanka, your country actually, definitely you should go to the Aṅgulimāla stupa, and you should pay your veneration to the Supreme Buddha. You know that these relics were very, very special. Our Lukusaminasi was given by very special group of heavenly beings, maybe. So maybe sometimes you know about these stories. And then this stupa is very special to the Buddhist people, and all the non-humans sometimes come to worship the stupa. Many heavenly beings come to worship this stupa in Sri Lanka, called Aṅgulimāla stupa. And then when you go to this stupa, oh, that's wonderful. This is a beautiful picture. Is this Arjuna shared that picture?
Anything so.
Oh, many minutes. So you know that this is under construction. Maybe now it's very beautiful. In the Hataraskotua, the Arjuna point the Hataraskotua.
Anyway, I'm just trying to find another photo.
If you point the Hataraskotua, which is called the square part, the Buddha's holy relics are enshrined, and in the body of the stupa, the round part, we have the 1,000 pieces of Aṅgulimāla Bhante's holy relics. And when you go to this stupa, please keep your forehead on the base of the stupa and offer your life to the stupa. That's very powerful. This is how you want to offer yours. May my life be offered to the Supreme Buddha. May my life be offered to the Supreme Dhamma. May my life be offered to the Supreme Sangha. May my life be offered to the Venerable Aṅgulimāla Arahant Bhante, who had a deep respect towards his teacher. You know, the Aṅgulimāla Bhante was had very powerful respect towards his teacher. That's why he took this sword and went to the forest to fulfill the idea of the teacher. When he meets the Supreme Buddha, that idea was extremely powerful, because the Supreme Buddha gave him the ultimate gift to Aṅgulimāla Bhante. And then we can't even believe, we can't even imagine the respect he had towards the Supreme Buddha, as he was freed, as he made free from all the sufferings from samsara, the samsaric suffering. So when he had such a deep respect to his lay life teacher to fulfill that bad idea actually, so how can we imagine the respect towards the Supreme Buddha, who became the real teacher, who became the absolute, the refuge to him, to absolute saver from all the sufferings in samsara. He is saved from all the sufferings suffering in hell actually for a long period of time, and that's why we should pay our respect to the stupa and then to Aṅgulimāla Bhante as well. Maybe this part is for someone else. That's how Aṅgulimāla Bhante became an arahant one after practicing. So you know that when he went to the woman for do this Satyakriya, he was a normal monk. He is not an enlightened Bhante, even though that Satyakriya was so powerful. So think about yourself too. When you follow something spiritual, when you went for refuge to the Supreme Buddha, that's the truth. That's the truth. You wholeheartedly went to the Supreme Buddha for refuge, and you have your teacher, Pinot Loku Swami, as your teacher. That's just the truth. By the power of this truth, may I be saved. May I be free from the danger. May my noble idea be fulfilled. Like that, you can make your Satyakriya to yourself too. Okay, when you pay your Vandana maybe in the morning, at the Vandana in the evening, you can make your Satyakriya. I am a good disciple of the Supreme Buddha. By the power of this Satyakriya, may I be capable to practice my precepts like that. Okay, like you can do that too. And then next part is for someone else who is happy to do.
Bhante, I don't mind to read again if that's allowed, Bhante.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Then Aṅgulimāla, living alone, withdrawn, diligent, keen, and resolute, soon realized the supreme end of the spiritual path in this very life. He lived having achieved with his own insight the goal for which gentlemen rightly go forth from the lay life to homelessness. He understood rebirth is ended. The spiritual journey has been completed, and what had to be done has been done. There is no return to any state of existence, and Venerable Aṅgulimāla became one of the perfected.
Right. That's just the point. He became an Arahant Bhante. Okay. Even though he had He is free from all the suffering. He is an enlightened Bhante. He is an Arahant Bhante. He had that bad merit coming behind him, and he suffered for that, maybe just for this life too. And then we will read about that heart-touching stories as well by someone else.
Bhante, can I read?
Yes.
He understood rebirth is ended. The spiritual journey has been completed. What had to be done has been done. There is no return to any state of existence. And Venerable Aṅgulimāla became one of the perfected.
A little bit more.
Then Venerable Aṅgulimāla robed up in the morning, and taking his bowl and robe, entered Savatthi for alms. Now, at that time, someone threw a stone that hit Aṅgulimāla. Someone else threw a stick, and someone else threw gravel. Then Aṅgulimāla, with cracked head, bleeding, his bowl broken, and his outer robe torn, went to the Buddha.
Thank you. And someone else for the next part?
Officer Sansa, can I read?
Yes.
Then the Buddha saw him coming off in the distance and said to him, Endure, Brahman, you're experiencing in this life the result of deeds that might have caused you to be tormented in hell for many years, many hundreds or thousands of years. Later, Venerable Aṅgulimāla was experiencing the bliss of release while in the private retreat. On that occasion, he expressed this heartfelt sentiment.
Both. So many merits for your beautiful reading. And then, so you see, the Buddha's advice is amazing. Endure, dear Brahmin. Endure, dear Brahmin. So be comfortable. So this is how you experience your bad merits. Maybe be okay with that, and you are free from all the sufferings in the future. Being born in the hell is ended, right? You have no any bad bad merits for to be born in hell or suffer. So be okay with that, he says. So whenever we also have some kind of suffering in our life as well, we should want to think about that too. So I am collecting good merits. Maybe this is something, the nature of this life. Okay, I will collect good merits. I will practice good merit to be free from this suffering. That's just the way that we want to think about. And these are the Thera Gatha of Aṅgulimāla Bhante. After becoming an enlightened Bhante, he uttered these inspired utterances. Very, very powerful. And then maybe once again we will go one round to read these beautiful gathas. We have a little bit more. Pabod?
Hear my sound, Master. He who once was heedless, but turned to heedfulness, lights up the world like the moon freed from a cloud.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. He who once was heedless, but turned into heedlessness, lights up the world like the moon freed from a cloud. It's the moon covered with dark clouds, but after that, removing the dark clouds, the entire world becomes the light now. This is just like the person who has bad deeds before, but when he removes that bad deeds, he becomes a good person, and he gives something very virtuous to the world, like the moon that lights up the entire world. Oh, that's about you too sometimes. Huh? Maybe the next gatha is for someone else.
Also, Silence, can I read?
Yes.
Someone whose bad deed is supplanted by the good lights up the world like the moon freed from a cloud.
Oh, beautiful. So this like same idea, okay? And then the next gatha is for again Isuru.
No, Bhante.
Namo Buddha.
May even my enemies hear a Dhamma talk. May even my enemies devote themselves to the Buddha's teaching. May even my enemies associate with those good people who establish others in the Dhamma.
Okay, okay. And then a young man devoted to the Buddha's teaching lights of the world, like the moon freed from cloud. May even my enemies hear a Dhamma talk. Wow, that's the compassion he developed in his mind. Even my enemies, maybe the people I killed. That's how he was thinking. Even my enemies devote themselves to the Buddha's teachings. Buddha's teaching is amazing, and may all beings be happy about the teachings. That's how he was thinking. And then the next gatha is for Isarus Nandi.
For then they'd surely wish no harm upon myself or others, having arrived at ultimate peace. They'd look after creatures firm and frail.
The upper part, please make this one too.
Sorry, may even my enemies hear Dhamma at the right time from those who speak on acceptance, praising acquiescence, and may they follow the path.
Okay. May even my enemies hear Dhamma at the right time. So even if we can't think about like that, may even my enemies, from those who speak on acceptance, practicing exercises, and may they follow the path. And I'm sorry. For then they would surely wish no harm upon myself or others. Having arrived at ultimate peace, they would look after creatures firm and frail. And the next part is for someone else. Again, maybe
Officer, can I read? My son answer.
Okay.
For irrigators guide the water, and fletchers straighten arrows, carpenters carve timbers, but the astute tame themselves.
Okay. So the irrigators guide the water, and fletchers straighten arrows. Carpenters carve timber, but the astute tame themselves. The good people tame themselves. So like the other people do their jobs as well. And then next part is for Chenuli and Tiseni. If you would, this part.
My Swami Mahanse, some tame by using the rod, some with goads, and some with whips, but the poised one tamed me without rod or a sword.
Oh, he was talking about the Buddha. Some people came like that, but Buddha did not do that same. So my name is harmless. It's just for Imasha and Shivan. Imasha, maybe? I don't know. Yeah.
What day? Which part do we read?
This part. My name is harmless.
Read. My name is harmless, though I used to be harmful. The name I bear today is true, for I do no harm to anyone.
Okay, which means harmless. Ahinsaka is harmless. Okay, innocence. But he was absolutely innocent later on. And then the sister of Shivan, I used to be a bandit. Shivan's sister? Oh, I don't see that.
Read. Can you see?
I used to be a bandit, the notorious Aṅgulimāla. Swept away in a great flood, I went to the Buddha as a refuge.
Yes, beautiful. And then next gatha is to anyone else. Oh yes.
Can I read Bante?
Yes, sure.
I used to have blood on my hands, the notorious Aṅgulimāla. See the refuge I have found. The attachment to rebirth is eradicated.
Oh, he was very happy now. So he was freed from suffering. Huh? He went for refuge. That's how he found his protection in his life. And then I have done many of these sort of deeds. Dimal and Nitil.
Here, my son answered.
Yes.
I have done many of the sort of deeds that lead to a bad destination. The result of my deeds have already hit me, so I enjoy my food free of death. Fools
Go ahead.
Fools and half-wits devote themselves to negligence, but the wise protect diligence as their best treasure.
Okay, beautiful. Okay. And then next part is for someone else. Don't devote yourself, no negligence. His advice to you, to me. Dinara?
Here, my son answered.
Beautiful. Don't devote.
Sorry, I was muted. Don't devote to negligence or delight in sexual intimacy. For if you're diligent and practice absorption, you'll attain abundance and happiness.
Okay, so this is how he give us his advice. Okay, don't devote yourself to negligence. No? For if you're diligent and practice absorption is the meditation, deep meditation, you will attain abundant happiness, which means you will be free from suffering and you will experience happiness. And then some next part is for someone else. This part.
I can read Princess.
Okay.
It was welcome, not unwelcome. The advice I got was good. Of teachings that are shared, I encountered the best.
Okay, beautiful. And maybe the last gatha is for me. If everybody is happy about that. It was it was welcome, not unwelcome. The advice I got was good. I have attained the true knowledges and fulfilled the Buddha's instructions. He fulfilled the Buddha's instructions. These gathas, these verses were from the parts of our Thera Gatha of our Venerable Aṅgulimāla Bhante. And then I want you to be I want you to develop your Shraddha towards the Supreme Buddha, his amazing the wisdom and his amazing compassion towards every being. And then I want you to develop your the faith and then your Shraddha towards the Supreme Buddha, as well his Dhamma, as well the noble Sangha, including Venerable Aṅgulimāla Bhante. And Aṅgulimāla Bhante was a very special person in our dispensation. So I'm happy that you were happy about the beautiful discourse from Majjhima Nikaya called Aṅgulimāla Sutta. And then may our homage to the Supreme Buddha, his teaching and his holy Sangha, including our great Arahant Venerable Aṅgulimāla. Sadhu, sadhu.